a little bit about them. You did obviously mention the border, and reason for that is, of course, their match against Team BDS yesterday, where they actually played very well on border. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused as to why they maybe wouldn't want to go back to that, but maybe they do feel like Villa is a map that they can have some success on. But ultimately, I think for MIBR, this should still be theirs. They've got a 73% defensive win rate on Villa, 2-1 record. They've got a +6 round differential. They do ban it out, so it's not exactly like a home map for MIBR, but yeah, Falcons are going to have to bring something crazy here.
We'll see whether that could be in the ban phase. Habana, Thatcher, nothing really out of the ordinary. I guess Habana, you could probably argue, might be a stranger ban, you know, probably more so looking to something like a Nook, if I'm being completely honest. But Habana has a lot of use when you're thinking about the pushes, think about study into Aviator. And of course, bedroom all the way onto the statuary wall. There is quite a bit that you use Habana for on those hard breaching. So with MIBR banning that out, it'll be interesting to see what they go for on a defense. Please not mirror, please not mirror. It is a Kaid ban. Interesting. Well, I would say the ban phase is kind of 50-50, 50% what I expected, and maybe a little bit of a curveball toward the end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Habana ban in fairness, but it's also something that we don't probably see as much of. Is it really going to have that much of an impact, whether it's available or not available? I don't think so. There's enough hard breaches available that I don't think you're really going to sort of miss the Habana per se. I don't mind Kaid and Valk and obviously Thatcher. So yeah, I'm also probably 3 out of 4. I think are pretty good here as we head to Aviator games for the first round. MIBR on the defense though, Rob, this is where they can do a lot of the damage early on here in this map. If they can get out to, you know, we saw it last night. We saw a lot of 6-0 defensive halves in our last series with Down One Gaming and Team Liquid. I'm not saying MIBR is going to be able to replicate that, but on the defense of Villa, it's usually a pretty good match for it. Nowadays, it's probably closer to 50-50 overall, but ABG is a good site for defenders. So a good start here for MIBR is what they need.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It's going to be hard for us to kind of give any expectations for Falcons, I guess. We actually don't have a lot of information on them. Our stat tracker only limits to, I think, tier 2 teams, maybe tier 3 for some teams, but certainly Falcons for me is very much an unknown coming into this. So I am excited for them, especially coming up against, you know, MIBR, a very strong team in their own right, and a team that's got some veteran history. This is a perfect opportunity for, you know, even Saudi Arabian fans to kind of level out their expectations as to where their region is currently at. Falcons at the head of the Saudi Arabian League right now. I would imagine that this is a perfect opportunity for them to test the waters.
Yeah, it is, and that's the way they need to treat it, right? The match against BDS, the match now against MIBR, it's a wonderful learning experience for Falcons that they could take back after this event and really use it to their advantage in being able to continue to dominate locally and getting this international experience against T1 teams of the nature of BDS and MIBR cannot be understated. So it's a matter of, though, after this event, what they do with this information, what they do with this experience. It's one thing to play it, to get the experience. It's another thing to almost capture it like lightning in a bottle and be able to just sort of harness that power moving forward. So keen to see how they try and break down this defense. AVG, very defender-sided, a lot of choke points that they do have to clear out. Brown stairs here, obviously a vital one. Can they push into study? Can they put pressure onto Aviator? But it's Reduct that finds the opening kill. It's 0 kills.
Yeah, that's not the start I'm sure that they're hoping for at this point. You know, you want to be doubling down, and Reduct has actually found himself at the bottom of main, so this is even more dangerous. Luca's going to be sitting there. They don't know that Reduct is there. He's going to find a double. That is absolutely horrific for Falcons to start out here. He might find a third. Joker, with his eyes pinned to stairs, gets caught out. And this is really difficult for Q from here on out. I mean, sure, you've got a Talon Shield in front of you, but Philippe Box decides he's got to catch them all. And that is a very strong round for MIBR to start off with.
Yeah, not a surprise. On that particular site, I don't think Falcons are going to have the nous to break down the defense of MIBR. It's, as I said, a very, 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 very good defender-sided site here on Villa. Now, heading over to Stat Trophy, this is where things can be opened up a little bit more. You do have what I would consider a couple more options. You can go for a bit of a vert take down below. kitchen area, sheets, for example, try and cause havoc from below, and then try and push into areas like Astro, bedroom. Or you can go for a bit of a south to north take and come through AVG's side, push in through study, go up top brown stairs, clear towards 90, and then push in from that side. So you've got a couple of options here if your Falcons try to break down this defense of MIBR. Also curious to see, how does MIBR set up for this? Do they put a focus down below? Do they keep a couple of roamers towards sheet, towards kitchen? Or do they obviously keep more of a defensive-minded setup? Try and block areas like Astro, make it difficult to push into bedroom.
They're definitely committing a, I wouldn't say a fair bit of utility. There's definitely, I think, 3 reinforcements down there, a couple of barricades on the doors, as you saw, mute jammers. So without a doubt, MIBR are trying to play with, I wouldn't say an extended roam for too long, but definitely testing the waters where, as Falcons, you know, this is where we get to test where their attack is at. How well coordinated are they? What is their prep phase like when they're droning out? Because if they've got the drones in nice and early, they'll get a lot of intel on that. And just as we are talking about it, that's the smoke player down. And I actually believe that might have been... Yeah, I can't even see where that was. Oh, no, it was. It was on the rotate back up Astro stairs. So this is a great start for Falcons. Probably the best operator to be taking out this early on.
Yeah, and also position as well. Getting Astro completely open is so important to breaking down this defense of MIBR. It gives them a foothold that they can get close to site. A good entry point. And for MIBR, you've now got to consider either trying to counter-aggress, look for a kill back the other way, bring it back to a 4 versus 4, or you just kind of hold tight and hold steady for, you know, the next minute and a half or so and expect maybe Falcons to make a mistake and maybe get overzealous in some certain areas, but that's not happening right now. Full credit to Falcons. They're playing actually rather controlled. They're not overzealous. They're looking like actually a pretty standard, normal T1 kind of team. They're making the right moves, making the right plays. Now, the question is, though, are they prepared for this AVG setup from MIBR? Does that catch them out?
Well, that's it. When you saw Falcons setting up, they were certainly... when MIBR was setting up, they were spread really thinly across the map, and it might actually go to punish them. In fact, Falcons winning their ones, which I cannot tell you how crucial that is, but it should be a... Oh, my God. Raps gave me a little bit of a concern there. And unfortunately, with Reduct going down, that's Astro, that's site control gone.
Yeah, and they know that one's inside a vault as well, so it's a matter of where's Philippox if you're Falcons? Where is this mute? And he's over towards Astro. If he gets this kill, and he does it. 0 kills, now has 3 kills in this round. And it's a bit of a slip-up from MIBR. Falcons severely punishing this AVG defensive setup. I mean, what was that from Raps? Slow crouch through the doorway. We'll see it from this perspective, but yeah, I mean, that is just amateur hour, all things considered. And Falcons looking like the... well, they're looking like the T1 team in that second round. MIBR got to be better than that.
I think that MIBR might not have respected Falcons enough in that round. Defense spread extremely thin. You had 2 across toward AVG. You had the mute setting up on that first floor. And obviously the smoke getting caught on the rotate back up of Astro. I mean, look, he might not have even been caught out rotating. He might have actually been trying to take a fight, in which case it's even worse. But regardless, I do think that's the kind of round for Falcons. When you're being tested, that's where you need to shine. And in every 1v1 that we saw, Falcons came out on top. So really big kickstarting round for them here. Making sure that, you know, MIBR don't get off to that 2-3-0 start and then all of a sudden they're trying to claw this game back. Instead, no, they're going to make their statement nice and early. MIBR are going to have to temper their own pushes and probably, I would say, kind of give a little bit more respect across. But yeah, that's a very big round for Falcons in my opinion.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, getting one on the board early is always going to be so important for Falcons. It gets them the belief, the confidence that they can sort of build from that, hey, we can contest, like, we can win this map. We're just as good as them. Don't feel as if that this is, you know, a show-in that MIBR have all of the experience and that they're, you know, that T1 team that can just have their way with this. You need to also gain that respect by playing in that fashion, as we saw in the second round. It forces MIBR to then play a little bit better as well. But you have to give credit to Falcons. 0 kills, had a big round in that second round. But so far, what I'm liking from them is just their patience play. They're not looking like a young team that's just running in gung-ho, shift W, running around the map. They're playing this really smart, really slow, really methodical, playing, I guess, their own style, and that's the best way to win. Back your own team philosophy in.
I'm sure if you try to change things up, you're not fully prepped for it. MIBR could run amok, so really overall good signs from Falcons to begin with. And I mean, from our perspective, this is the kind of stuff that we want to be able to see early on as commentators to get our own expectations right. And Falcons showing a lot of calm and composure at the very, very start of this matchup. They spot out Raps. That's got it. I mean, you could almost swing there from behind and go for the shots through the wall, but instead it's actually Joker who swings, and it's gone all horribly wrong for Leapox. Absolutely destroying Falcons' hopes in this attack, and Falls is just making it even worse. Oh, God.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a case of Falcons doing well in the drone game, but then MIBR playing into that, knowing that they've been droned out, fully expecting Falcons to want to swing on that information almost straight away, and that then is a little bit haphazard. They actually had numbers there at that position. And maybe Falcons felt like that was going to be a strength, that they had the information, that they could play off of that. And it all just falls apart. And this is probably the difference, I think, in these two teams. Not so much the decision-making or the gameplay philosophy, but just the general gunplay. MIBR, you would expect to be a little bit sharper, but look at that. 6Z not messed the prone from Redux. Ready for those kind of plays, but MIBR, when all guns are firing, you think they're going to have that little extra skill advantage, and Raps finishing off Q6 and MIBR to get a response after a lackluster second round.
Perfect response. Again, if we want to go down the line of stories and the journey, the campaign for these teams, MIBR, even though they falter in the second round, you've got to see them bounce back in the third. And like you said, they'd fully been droned out in living there and still managing to make that work and holding down those lines. I do want to see what MIBR are like if they can't play around, Philippox's and Lucad's, I would say, firepower. And right now we're seeing it. Reduct and Raps are both stepping up. Not heads and shoulders above the rest of the team, but definitely showing us that this is a multifaceted team. And if Falcons aren't careful, Lucad and Philippox, we saw them yesterday. We saw what happens when they get on a little bit of a steamroll. Very, very hard to slow that down. Even though it was against TSM, there were still many rounds that we were like, ooh, this should be MIBR's. Unfortunately, team effort just doesn't close it out in the end. So very much, for me, at this point, Falcons showing good enough signs that this is going to be a competitive match. And I think it's going to be about MIBR standing up and proving to not just us as commentators, but obviously all the viewers at home, that they are still one of those teams that we talked about coming into this tournament that were going to be a threat.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Lucad, Philippox, they were sort of the heart of MIBR against TSM, but it just wasn't enough. They didn't have the rest of the numbers. TSM were essentially a full, five-man squad that was playing with a good level of cohesion, and that was probably what was missing from MIBR, was that kind of cohesion. And I think Villa's a good site to try and build some of that. Really good choke points, really good setups that they can have here on the defense. Falls are going to be probably winning that. I mean, it is somewhat of a shoulder peak, but playing that brown stairs position, you've got to be sharp. You know that they're going to be swinging and peeking you, and he just can't quite land with the SMG-11. Hasn't thrown out his gas babes, but getting pressured early. I like that from Falcons. Don't allow time to become a factor against the smoke player as well, and they find a kill onto Raps as well elsewhere, while still getting to work here on brown stairs. I mean, Falcons wasting no time. They got the shield, and now Falls is probably forced to start throwing gas bait.
This is what we like to see from Falcons. They've got to follow up, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Fantastically played by Falcons in the first minute of this round. Phase 1 is an outstanding success for them. And now it's about, for them, closing this round out. They've got leads. They've got advantages. You do not want to crumble here. Be very cautious, because MIBR, when they're backed into a corner, will have to make these decisions. Will have to go for plays. And Falcons are prepared for it. Lucad finally finds one back after 3 comrades are well and truly down.
Yeah, and MIBR just a little bit staggered there on the defense. They lose Brown Stairs, so what do? They bring the other positions that are being held away from that and sending 2 players to Brown Stairs to try and preoccupy a position that they've already lost. I get that, but then you've weakened everything else, and then 2 players, top Brown, puts Joker in a good position to get this 1 kill. Lucas, well, didn't reposition after getting that kill onto Mad Skills, and Q6 will oblige. 2 versus 1 now, but Felipox doesn't have a lot of health. Q6 finishes off the round. So far, back and forth here on Villa. Good signs from Falcons. They are here to contend.
There was a short moment where a lot of doubt flooded in for me. A 2 versus 4, you got Luca still alive. He starts to hit his shots. And things very quickly can turn around from there. And it's one of those things, it's really hard as an attacking team to know what the best course of action is there. You've found the first 3 picks, or let's just say you found the first 2 picks, right? You've taken down the shield on stairs, you've also taken down the smoke player. So you know that MIBR can't play defensively in the way that they would have wanted to. So the next step, or the next logical step for MIBR is to take aggressive fights, is to try and isolate 1v1s when you're not expecting it. Case in point, Felipox jumping out of the top window by Skull and finding that kill on the player watching study. Those are the kind of things that you kind of expect to happen. And even though Falcons dropped 2 players, the response from Q6, fantastic to see how quickly they were able to get that back under control. And I'm also going to say, that is a nightmare for a caster to try and say in a play-by-play moment. Q6 head.
Yeah, but I just go with Q6 now before he lost it after 1 round. I was like, no, that's it, Q6 now. But it's really good, though, to see Falcons really being able to go toe-to-toe. We saw it with BDS, and that was kind of my assumption when I looked at those rounds. Obviously, we didn't get to cast that game. We didn't get to see the match itself. But to understand that, hey, they're taking rounds off of BDS, that means that these guys know what they're doing, right? We've seen kind of bad teams before get absolutely destroyed, 7-0, 7-1s, when they go up against teams that are clearly out of their league. To me, it doesn't seem like Falcons are out of the league of MIBR. And that they maybe weren't that far behind BDS as many people would have thought. I'm sure there was a lot of people coming into this tournament that would have thought, oh, Falcons are just there because it's kind of their home country, and so they're just getting a free ride in. But no, like, they are like a team that is clearly capable. Can they put it together for 3 maps? We'll have to wait and see. But if this was a best of 1 right now, I'd be concerned if I was MIBR. So they really need to stand up and step their game up. Otherwise, Falcons could pull off the shock upset with the way things have played out in the first 4 rounds.
Especially when we see, like, I'm keen to see as well, if they've got this level of coordination on their attack, their defense is going to be pretty solid, pretty sound. They're going to have to deal with this one player that's sitting in closet right now. This is such a traditional hold. Like, we used to see this 2 years ago, I want to say. Since then, I have struggled to see a hold in closet in this time. So I'm really excited to see, can MIBR stick this? Can Raps make something magical happen? He's got no one else with him, but he's got a lot of utility. It's the nade from 0 kills that finds it. And this is once again, another great start from Falcons. They've taken the control of closet.
Well, they have a lot of nades. They had as well. Still got 5, but started off this round with a lot of utility to be able to clear out a position like that. Ignite yourself from falls, getting the kill into Joker. So at least still maintaining site control for MIBR. 4 versus 4, but you did lose Raps, who's obviously playing pretty well at the moment. 50 seconds left in this round. J-Lad now inside of Master's bedroom and has a pretty good sightline. Over to sight. Falls has got no idea. Neither does Lucid. Oh, it's too easy for the Falcons. They are tearing apart MIBR on the attack here of Villa and are now moments away from coming up 3-2 in a staggering start. Felipox with a Nitro output, 0 kills, watching from the heavens. What a start for Falcons.
This is, I mean, this is the Falcons that we all hope for, right? This is the storyline that we all love to see. Falcons, not only are they finding round wins, which is obviously a massive part of being able to actually have a successful attacking half, but for me, it's the coordination from this team. It is the composure. Something like a closet hold, I know it seems menial. I know it doesn't seem like it's difficult to deal with until you're in a competitive match and you have to deal with that in a timely manner. They dealt with Raps within, I think it was about 1 minute 30 seconds, and they had taken over control of closet. This team is showing me really solid signs right now, and I am really worried for MIBR. I was worried coming into this matchup after seeing, I would just say how close the game was on Border. I was kind of flicking back between our matches yesterday, and the game was really close. Like, Falcons probably could have sent that to overtime, if not closed it out. And if MIBR play even, you know, like, I would say 10% of what they did against TSM yesterday, they're going to have issues. And right now, Falcons are well and truly capitalizing on all of these mistakes that are being made. And they're not even massive mistakes. It's just a game of forced errors. And Falcons are doing a fantastic job.
Can they keep it up though? And what's the second half going to look like? We obviously don't want to get too excited too early, but whenever there's that underdog story, you do kind of fall into the trap of wanting to see it succeed and then getting your hopes crushed. But so far, all of the signs though suggesting to me that this is not, you know, random. This is not luck. That they have honestly looked like the better team. They've honestly outplayed MIBR in the first 5 rounds so far. 1 round to go to close out this half, and if they can achieve a 4-2 lead, puts them in a massive position to take this opening map of this series, and puts MIBR at the prospect of being the second team eliminated from Gamers8 already. It would be a disaster of a tournament for them.
Playday not going to be gifted anything just yet, and MIBR well and truly retreating from where they'd started. Lukid at the moment, this is a big fight. He can hold down this line. It's going to make Falcons' job on this attack so hard. But Lukid decides, you know what? Let's respect this. Let's not overextend. Let's not take ones that might be even 50-50. You know, we don't want to leave this up to chance. Minute 30 left. He's fallen back from that advanced position. And now Falcons still have to deal with him. They still have to deal with this top floor roam. There's a lot that they've got to do with a minute 30 left on the board.
I think they're capable though. They've already shown us in the clinch and in the tight moments that they can compete, they can land their shots and clear out these positions rather quickly if needed. Still a bit of time, so I'm not too worried just yet, but yeah, a little bit of work to do. Still flicking those cams and seeing what information they can gather. Credit to MIBR, they have slowed things down a bit, not getting too antsy, not playing over aggressive positions, holding key critical choke points without over peaking. I think they've now started to realize this is not going to be a walkover. They're going to have to play at their best. J-Lad, patience pays off, pushes in, maybe a little too aggressive, needed some cover fire, needed some help before pushing into side. Mad Skills gets the kill onto Raps though to regain the lead here for Falcons, and there's still time. 40 seconds left, and they're getting closer to taking sight and maybe taking this map. It's all too easy. 4-1 again, and it's about to be 4-2 in the first half.
Oh my word, Falcons are crushing MIBR on MIBR's defense, which we know statistically is their favored side. This is, I think, a really, really solid showing from the Saudi Arabian team. And I mean, we're just going to say it at this point. There's nothing from MIBR that makes me feel confident that they're going to be able to bring this map back. You know, this feels like momentum in Falcons. I know I've used the word composure already, but it really, like, if you look at how these rounds are playing out, they've got a minute left and they haven't been able to fully, you know, kind of take that top floor. They completely shift their attention. They come in through China. They make that move in through Pantry, and it's just so hard for MIBR to deal with. Now, let's see what their defense has. Let's see whether this is going to add an element of potentially doubt. But, I mean, I look at the... it's kind of cool to see some different lineups. I haven't seen the Mirror in a very long time, even the Bandit and the Thunderbird. I saw Thunderbird play a little bit yesterday, actually, which we just never see in APAC, so it's always a nice treat to come and watch an international event.
Yeah, the odd round here or there. I had a quick little look at the Brazil League for Villa. 52% defensive win rate, so yeah, I guess 50-50 is the nature of the course, but evidently, regardless, it wasn't a 50-50 half, it was a Falcons half. So, and I probably hold true to the fact that even if maybe Brazil, it's only 52%, I still kind of look at Villa, especially sites like ABG, very, very good for defenders. So Falcons are in pole position to take this opening map. It is their map pick, in fairness. Something to keep in mind over the course of this entire best of 3 series, but you just can't help but be impressed by what they've been able to do and how they're doing it. You know, sometimes you can kind of win ugly, maybe because the opposition not playing all that well, but I just generally believe Falcons have played like the better team. At any time it comes down to these 4v4s, 5v5s, it's always Falcons. The only thing that MIBR can probably do to salvage this map is to start getting opening kills, start trying to get an advantage early on. They might have just almost got that. 0 kills, barely stays alive. Well, Raps can pop that adrenal surge, but 0 kills can go back to the Kona stations and heal up as well. So a trade, but won't really amount to much in the long run.
Falcons looking to potentially regress across this side of the map. And I mean, when you've got this much utility here, you may as well try and fight it. J-Lad's going to be able to hold, as well as Mad Skills, who's, you know, provided he can control Brick. Splits held by J-Lad. So this is just MIBR. I don't think they're going to have enough to commit here. I think they're going to have to move back to the other side of the map. And with a minute left, a split attention, you know, it's not square one that they're starting from, but this is a really solid sign for Falcons. They're going to be able to retreat back to site, potentially turtle, and make this incredibly difficult for MIBR.
Falls. Barely stays alive, and they've just lost Redoct as well. Wow. On a site that's already very difficult to take for any attacking team. MIBR down 2. Philippok's got 1, but Raps traded elsewhere by Mad Skills. Luka just trying to make his way up around stairs, and he has the low ground. From this position, still no real control of top Brown. No real help at all. Joker just pops out. Philippok's the last player, but they know where he is. It's turning into a nightmare scenario for MIBR. Falcons are on cloud 9.
Oh, wow. This is really, really big danger signs for me for MIBR. I am really impressed with how we're seeing these rounds won by Falcons. Again, it's not just that they're winning the rounds, it's how they're winning these rounds. Now, again, I want to try and bring it back to the point that this is Falcons map pick, okay? This is where they feel most confident. And Villa's one of, I was going to say one of the most played sites in their domestic league, the Saudi E-Leagues, but it is actually only kind of sitting middle of the table, kind of equal 5 with Bank. So I really am a little bit shaken as to what I'm seeing right now. Solid performance, and this is the kind of start that we needed to see from Falcons in this best of 3, because very quickly a match like this could be blown out of proportions, but we're starting to see what the full force of this roster has, and I don't know whether MIBR are going to be able to handle this.
Yeah, and not to try and sound, you know, too smart, Rob, but I don't want to say I'm not surprised, but I'm not as surprised as maybe I would have been when the tournament was first announced. What we saw from Falcons yesterday showed they have the ability to go and stand up against these T1 teams, that they can put in a good performance. Now, remembering yesterday on Border, they got up to a 4-2 lead over Team BDS, and then BDS brought it back. Now, I'm not saying MIBR is going to be able to do that, but those are the lessons there for Falcons, okay? You got up, you got a lead, now you got to hold it. So you got one lesson yesterday, now you can apply what you've learned to today, and they've already shown that in that 7th round by getting that round when you got 5-2, you further extend that lead. You're 2 rounds away from taking a map against MIBR and sending them packing if they can then win a 2nd map of the next 2. Of course, best of 3, a reminder, but Falcons are clearly in the driver's seat to close out this map. On the defense of Villa, you would imagine that they should be able to go back to AVG at least 2 more times to close out there at minimum.
A bomb has been located.
MIBR, there's just no 2 ways of putting it. Backs are up against the wall here. I don't think they've dealt with that roam down below either. And I mean, they've got the pulse. They've got everything that they could need for this round here, Falcons. I really like the lineup that they've got. This is really difficult for MIBR to deal with. They've still got Q6 that's going to be able to sit there and waste more time, but MIBR might spring to action here, force the fights, and it's not going their way. Quick trades do come back. It is 3 apiece at the moment, and MIBR, they do have Astro control.
And it's not looking good though for Falcons. They lost the smoke, they lose the pulse, they lose a lot on site, and there's a minute left. And now MIBR can slow things down a little bit if they choose to. Raps over towards top backstairs, pushing into Astro. Still one more adrenal surge available as well, and all 3 players remaining full health for MIBR. And they get rid of Mad Skills, and finally MIBR can stop this run of rounds from Falcons.
If not for Joker, it's not to be. It is not to be. MIBR, they bounce back in a critical round. That, if it goes the way of Falcons, its match point is 6-2, and at that point, with 4 rounds up their sleeves, you really just do not see it happening. But now, 5-3 looks more respectable. It looks like it's one of those places where it could come down to later, you know, like instead of this game being over by round 10, we now are going to see it well and truly into the double digits, and this is going to be a forced fight unless MIBR slip up here, which I just don't imagine they're going to. And I actually think, are we re-attempting stat? Yeah, we are.
We are, yeah.
I like that from Falcons. Just a slight little change, pulse out, and it gets the mute in. So let's wait and see how this one, and the smoke as well. Cool. I like this little change.
Yeah, it allows them to also be aggressive over towards that Astro position a little bit better. You've got the Kona stations, you've got the mute jammers to deny a bit of information. When you think about Smoke, and I mean, Smoke's obviously rather defensive, but the Pulse is obviously a pretty aggressive defender, looking to find information, use those nitro cells, maybe a bit of vert play as well. But yeah, I think this is a better change for Falcons.
5 seconds to go.
Something that we probably saw them deploy in AVG as well, something similar. So 5-3. They find themselves in a position, though, where they were kind of in this position yesterday against Team BDS and allowed BDS back into the game. So again, it's all about applying your learnings from yesterday and closing this one out. But MIBR, I mean, they're going to be feeling the heat themselves. 4 rounds in a row went to Falcons. And they'll be feeling as if that's embarrassing for their level, for a team of their quality. That they can't allow that to happen again. Right now, though, I would honestly put money on saying this is likely to go to overtime.
Yep. That last round obviously changes quite a lot in our discussions. You know, if Falcons can stay on that momentum, if they can stay on the roller coaster, well, then things look a little bit more dangerous. Now, it is going to come down to really these individual fights that take place in the middle portions of the round. Are Falcons looking to get aggressive? Are they looking to be in the face of MIBR? Right now, the answer is no, but big thing, MIBR, they're not in the building, so there's really no need for Falcons to be forcing anything at this point. And we look to the attack to see how long this is going to take to really get into Master, to take that control. It's not going to take long at all. There's a player underneath that cannot find the kill on Raps as he makes his way into the vertical. And now, this is where control starts to lose a little bit of patience, and Falcons need to be careful not to overextend.
Yeah, really solid play from Raps. That's not an easy maneuver to pull off, considering while there wasn't a frost mat under that window, there was a hole, and there was someone watching that big nade as well.
Wow.
So close to getting the kill onto Mad Skills, but not enough to actually find it. And a stalemate has sort of broken out here over towards this bathroom position, trying to get the player backstairs out of the game and get into Astro. And I think Raps is almost just anticipating the peak, that at some point that player is going to peak top Astro stairs. They haven't just yet. And time then begins to become a factor, even more so when it's Q6 that finds the kill onto Reduck. Lucan, been a bit quiet in this game. They need a little bit more from him, but not going to happen against J-Lad. The lad gets them closer to that match point. Q6 down though. Not quite out for the count just yet. 40 seconds left. 4 versus 3.
Leapox is on the flank though, and Falcons are completely missing the point there. That is huge for Leapox. He nearly finds himself a second, but Rap's not catching. J-Lad, I think that was actually zero kills on the way back out. That may well give Falcons still a foothold in this game right now. 20 seconds left, 2 versus 2. Match point on the line here for Falcons.
Little cone station as well for 0 kills. Close back to full health. Joker with a headshot onto Ram. Now falls to 1 versus 2. Red time, he is located, but he is also taken down. He got 1, but he couldn't get 2. And Falcons have match point. Technically map point, of course, this being the first map of the series. Their map pick, and they are showing why. What a performance we are seeing from Team Falcon.
But this is such good signs, not just for Falcons, but also, for the MENA region. This is definitely a big win.
Now, I will say, it seems like there's a lot of Falcons fans in chat. Don't get too excited just yet. The map that we go to after this, Rob, is Cafe.
Yeah.
And here's just some of the numbers from MIBR. 4-0 plus 21 round differential, 83% attacking win rate, 76% defensive win rate. They don't ban it. They love it. It's their map. It's going to be difficult for Falcons to take down MIBR on Cafe. I'm not saying it's impossible after what we're seeing here on Villa, but yeah, this has kind of now got 3 maps written all over it. I think the third map may be very, very likely, which is Oregon. MIBR's not too bad on Oregon, but we also saw Falcons play Oregon yesterday against Team BDS. They did lose that one 7-2, but would have gained a lot of experience and knowledge.
I think there's one takeaway for me from the fact that we are going to Cafe next. I just went back and had a quick look at Falcons' previous matches in the Saudi E-League. So they actually let Cafe slip through on a number of occasions, which leads me to believe that they're not shy to play on Cafe. So although there is overwhelming evidence to suggest that MIBR are incredible on Cafe, I am not, it's not doom or gloom for me yet. The fact that it slipped through on a number of occasions in best of 3s, best of 5s for them, it really does look like they're going to be prepared for it. Speaking if they're going to be prepared, a bit of a blitz rush at the moment. They're going to send it straight into the top of Brown. Raps finds the first kill. They were not expecting it. Filipos has been able to get in through the 90 window, but he's shut down by a pre-placed C4. Really solid work from the Falcons, and that's the response you need. They're now turtling on site.
Top Brown stairs control, though, established for MIBR, and in the end, 1-for-1's not bad. Fleapox from that 90 position with the grapple on the Amaru had corridor control. If it wasn't for that, Nitrocell could have done a lot of damage on site. That was a massive Nitrocell to keep Falcons in a really solid position. The only downside they've got here is the lack of Brown stairs control. That's entirely now on the side of MIBR and Study. But Study has been opened up. There's wall. There is sightlines for J-Lad from Volt. Still 90 seconds left in the round, and Reduck used all of those Candelas as well to push it, but there's a couple of kills to go the way of MIBR. And that is making quick work of Team Falcons. Match point or not, doesn't matter. They come to play here after the timeout. 6-4.
Now, that's definitely a pocket strat that we've seen used across a number of regions, and it's not one that you can bank on 2 times in a row for MIBR. And AVG being unlocked for the last 2 rounds here is pivotal for Falcon's success on this map. Love it from MIBR. They really shake things up there. Falcons are just not prepared for that early kind of push. And granted, there's not very often you get to see a blitz push, especially on Villa, but it's really worked to perfection there. We now go back to AVG. This is where things need to get comfortable for Falcons. They've got 2 rounds to close this map out, and I just feel like this is going to be such a tall mountain for MIBR to climb.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it, right? 2 more goes of AVG. That'll be 3 rounds in a row on this site to close out this map. So a lot of work for MIBR still. Yeah, you pull out the old strats and you go for a bit of a blitz attack, but you can't do that again. It's just not going to be allowed. And I think this is now where MIBR have to play a little bit more standard siege and have to play that very well. Or do they? That is the other thing, because I'm looking at Reduck now, and he's actually brought out the Montang. So maybe they're just going to go for a similar play, but on a slower nature of it. Same kind of concept, Rob, but without maybe the rushed emphasis, and utilize that Monty and try and get Brown Stairs position again.
Now, before we get underway with this potentially last round. Obviously, there is another stream going on at the moment. Team BDS taking on TSM. They are on Theme Park. It is 5-3 up for Team BDS. So if you do want to chuck across to the A stream, if you want to have both streams open, all you need to do is drop the underscore and the B in this stream, and it will take you directly to that channel at the moment. But I thoroughly must say, Falcons at this point, they've shown a lot of grit and determination on Villa. I don't see I don't see a world in which they falter. J-Lad, he's already peeking into Art, and Lucan had no idea MIBR were not droning ahead, and that is a massive player to lose.
I like that though. Crunch time, match point. J-Lad lives up to his name and playing like a lad that just doesn't care. Makes the push down into Art from top brown stairs. It's a risky play. If Redux is not sitting on a Monty and he's watching from entrance, J-Lad just dies. But that wasn't the case. He finds a second kill on the balls. Oh no, Joker! That's not how you win the round!
Oh no.
J-Lad was doing everything perfect, and in the end, it's not the opposition that takes him down, but his own teammates. 4 versus 3, now they're still going to deal with the Montang on brown stairs. That's a great nade though to the back of Redux. E1D goes out, minute 20. 4 versus 3, still advantage for Falcons, but they took down their star man. Epox repels in onto the veranda safely as well. I mean, MIBR getting a couple of little 50-50 moments to go their way in this round.
I do have a drone and study. You can see the yellow ping come out there, so MIBR are going to look to potentially negate this pressure that's at the top of brown and push back up of red, and that would be kind of big. I mean, if Redux can get into a position where they can kind of face check with the shield, it's going to make things a little bit more interesting. Now they realize, okay, sound cue, they now know we're over here. Let's rotate back to brown and put the pressure on these final couple of players. But Falcons holding strong. They've got 30 seconds left to ensure that MIBR do not walk away with this.
30 seconds away from finding their first map win here at Gamers8 for the Falcons. Raps pushes up top brown stairs and now trying to get in towards Study. Gets rid of that Goo Mine. Philippox gets rid of Joker. So from team kill to death down, not a good round from Joker. He won't want to see this one back again. 15 seconds though. Philippox looking to make the push in. Still with Redux leading the way on that Montag. Smoke goes out. They can't find the kill zone. 0 kills. Philippox finally from Study does get down 0 kills. The Montag falls though, and so do MIBR. Team Falcons soar and take Villa 1-0 up in the series.
You cannot understate a victory like that, especially for Falcons. Their first win in the Gamers8 2022. Shaking their head to the camera. They know that that one is a big, big map to start off with. MIBR don't